Hello, and welcome back to Soulstar Radio. I'm Jacquelene Close-Moore, and I'm joined by the wonderful, fabulous Raul Estevez, angelic messenger, all the way over there in Ballarat. How are you doing there, darling?
Happy New Year to you and to everybody out there, Jacqueline. I'm doing really well.
Fabulous. You've got a wonderful deck of cards that we've been talking about in the past on my little visits to Ballarat, and you've got them coming up and coming out in the next month or so. Do you want to talk to our viewers, listeners, and other people about those?
Before we do that, I just wanted to bring to all of us here the beautiful light of Archangel Raphael.
Beautiful.
We need at the moment a lot of healing energy, and that light brings that. And also the beautiful flowers from our garden, the pink roses, bringing that energy of self-love and beauty to our solar plexus and to our heart. And that idea, that angelic message that the pink rose brings, you know what? There's nothing that you need to change to feel beautiful and to feel love. And that's something that beautiful pink rose brings to all of us.
I've actually got, at the moment, I've got some orange ones out in the garden as well as pink. So it's also bringing that creativity with the orange as well. But it's like one of your roses there has a bit of that orange in it.
Yes. In one of the pages of my Angels Connections, you actually get the orange there. And we are really fortunate here in Ballarat, as you know. Summertime is full of roses. I picked the pink ones, but we also have yellow, we have orange, we have white, we have red. It's an array of color, not only in our garden, but in everybody's garden, and it's beautiful to see.
Gorgeous.
Okay, moving on to the cards, shall we?
Why not? I'm excited. That's why I jumped straight in there.
It's been a couple of years in the making, and it's taken a lot of self-love into creating them. And I worked with my beautiful and dear friend, Sonia Daru, illustrator, to the universe and the stars. And she did a magnificent job. And the cards are actually called Guiding Star of Life. And it's an honest and practical way for people to utilize the cards. And as you can see, there are 4 main quadrants, and I'm focusing on love, purpose, faith, and abundance. And each quadrant has 11 cards. So all in all, we have 44 cards. But what the beauty of this deck of cards is that I intended from the beginning was for people to have 5 decks in one, because you can use the whole deck together, or you can side divide them into the 4 main quadrants and concentrate in that particular area of your life that perhaps you need a little bit of guidance, inspiration, and just a way forward. And the cards do actually do that. Each deck, if you want, within it is colored in the particular color there, but I also gave everybody a guidance card so they know in each quadrant which one is the leading card and which ones are the ones that are going to follow that leading card. And Sonia and I worked together on this deck, and we had so much fun. Firstly, we laughed for about an hour before we start creating anything. And then we actually get on with the job of creating, and she's so good at interpreting my feelings and my intuition into what I'm saying and what I'm trying to give that energy in the cards. We also done in the little guidebook, which it hasn't been done before, and they already come personalized. So they're already a dedication there for everybody that purchased the card with our signatures. And also to make it a little bit more interactive, at the end of each quadrant, like you will have the regular thing that you will see on a guidebook, but at the end of each quadrant, people actually have the opportunity to write their own messages that they get from each individual card. So in essence, the deck becomes truly yours.
I like that whole feeling of it because what I find, for example, if we want to talk tarot for just a minute, you can find that there are static meanings of a card according to the way it's always been interpreted. But then you get reinventions of that through, for example, I can pick up different decks and that particular key or that particular card will feel one way to me in one deck, another way to me in another deck, and so on. And so the feeling I might get from that would relate to, okay, well, this is the deck I'm picking up to deal with this issue, and that particular card, let's call it the Eight of Wands or the Eight of Cups, for example, is going to mean one thing, whereas in the other deck it actually kind of almost gives a bit of a different insight. So in what you're talking about, what you're actually doing is allowing that process where some people read the cards far more intuitively than purely as a static meaning. And I think when you're developing your own intuition, it is about, well, what does this mean to me? How would I interpret that? Rather than simply, this is what it's always meant, and that's just how you read it.
Yes, I'll give you a little sneak peek, an example of a card here, and it's the beautiful card of harmony. Yes, and it has a little message there, and the message says the unity within our higher self, living in harmony with our environment. But we created the card in a way that people will get a whole lot of feeling out of looking at that card. The colors, the butterfly, the main butterfly is doing what it represents to you, the little ones flying around, and that idea that you may be big or you may be small, but there's a place for you in this harmonious universe.
Mm. And so that also sends out different messages, even with someone who might be reading them professionally. You're going to get one view of it, perhaps with one client, and a completely different part of the card you're drawn to with the other client. So with one client, you might be looking at the sun. Another client, you might be looking at the central figure. Another one, you're going to be looking at that, what looks like text going around that, or other little butterflies going around that. And then other people, you're going to be looking at those butterflies right in the background. And certainly very intuitive people will read cards more that way, as the different parts of the card might actually rise up and speak to them and then drop back down as they're addressing the issue that's coming up from their intuition while they're actually utilising yeah, it's really quite useful in that way because you've got the different dimensions on which you can actually draw through those cards.
And that's what we wanted to portray, and particularly what I wanted to portray with the concept, that idea of focusing in four main areas, but also allowing people to truly go within and allow themselves to feel. And as they're feeling that, they are getting that, not only that imagery, that color, but the particular energy that we put within the creation of each card. Although I said to you, Sonia and I, like you and I, we laugh a lot. But in our creative process, there's so much energy and so much love that goes into each particular card.
Mm. Beautiful. Absolutely wonderful way of working with it. And it's really great that you can do that with someone as well. Quite often you see different decks where it's almost like the author of the deck has a very different vision to the artist, where you can actually see the melding here of the two.
Yes. And that was the idea, that we noticed that when we look at different decks, that there was no synergy. Yes, the synergy was not there, and we created that within this deck.
It's really, really vital way to, I think, make that happen. That you get a lot of energy off the cards just even looking at the front cover that you've got off the deck there. And certainly I like the way it's organised into those different parts.
Even Sonia, I'm not sure whether the camera can capture that, but within the quadrants you can see the outline of butterflies.
Yep.
So she did a magnificent job within the star and within the quadrants and what we were trying to portray, and it's just amazing. And have a look at this one. This is the one for trust. Look at these colors.
Oh, yeah, that's just wow. Yep, beautiful. And, of course, trust is all about that trust is all about, as you look at the symbol of trust is all about that sense of literally feeling safe. And of course, what colours, relate to that are going to be those lower three chakras quite a lot more than the upper three. So you've got those colour of the lower three chakras in the card, as well as a magenta coming in way from up above, of course. But there's a lot of this theme of the yellow, orange, reds going through that. So it does bring through that. So someone who's maybe having a trust issue may either feel really comforted by that card or really challenged by that card, depending on where they're at that time. And that's another aspect of these that is quite different to the way that a lot of the other cards that I've seen are sort of, usually you see a lot of these New Age decks, and they are New Age decks. It's, there's lots of light, fluffy imagery, and there's just no, I might call it oomph. So, bang, here it is. Whereas it's actually got that feeling of some intensity there, in that image. And, that's going to be rather helpful, because really you want your cards to be transformative and not just pretty pictures.
Correct. And that's, if you have a look a little bit closer to the card, you see two butterflies, and that is that idea that within trust, we also need to trust somebody else, yes? We need to trust one another. Yeah. So there's a connection of two butterflies and two colors, and as you were mentioning, the imagery and also the energy within each color that actually brings that out.
There's actually other images within that I'm actually seeing that go way beyond simply butterflies. And so each person's going to see the shape and colour, as in all art, that they are really drawn to, and that really are speaking to them. So it's got that ability to speak to a variety of people. There's a wonderful abstractness in it that allows that. Really good job there. You'll have to say a big compliments to the chef on the creativity there with the artistry of Sonia, but also for you of dreaming this up.
Listen, it's truly a beautiful marriage, for a choice of a better word, between Sonia and I, that we work together so well that we understand how each other actually works and what we bring to the table in order to produce work that we are going to be proud that. Yeah, I know that it may sound a little bit corny, but we're truly living our legacy. Sonia and I set out to create this deck, and we said we want to create a deck that we're proud of, but we're not trying to churn 20 decks. This is what we wanted to do. Yep.
There are the ones that put out the 20 decks, and you sort of look at that and go, really? Okay, not feeling it. But this, it does feel like that culmination of a lot of work. So congratulations on it. It's actually fantastic. Excellent job. Now, we've actually got a caller waiting very patiently there. We've got Tamara in Medway, Ohio. Are you there, Tamara?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hello and welcome. Hello, welcome to the show. Thanks for calling in. I've also got here Raoul and Angelic Messenger on the line as well, and we're more than happy to provide you a reading. Did you want to start there, Raoul?
Yes, Tamara, how can we help you?
I am working on opening my third eye while at the same time trying to sell my novel, which is a self-help guide to abuse and addictions. And maybe I'm trying to do too much, but I'm writing a sequel to my novel, and by the summer it should be out. My first book is out. And I want to know, how do I open my third eye, and will this novel help other people, and will it sell well?
I'm not an expert on the opening of the third eye, but one thing that I will say to you, particularly with me, is that don't force the situation. Simply go with the flow and allow things to actually take place the way that they're going to work out for you, because sometimes people may tell you that you can do a specific diet to open the third eye, that you can do certain exercises, but it truly needs to be with your own soul, with your own spirit, that you're actually in unison, that you're communicating well. And as you start communicating well with that spirit, with that soul within you, your third eye will open just naturally without any effort. And something that you're actually doing that is quite important is that you're actually writing. And that sense of, sometimes it could be a topic as the one that you mentioned that is quite poignant, but it allows you as well to feel and to imagine and to create. And the third eye is what it actually gives you, is that idea of kind of like a little peek, a little preview into what's coming up into the future, that connection into the higher realm. I will say to you, from my point of view, don't try and force it. Concentrate on what you are doing with your book and your novel. That piece of writing is going to be helping so many people in so many different ways, and people that you haven't yet met. So continue with that, and don't put any pressure on yourself on trying to say, well, how come her third eye is more open than mine? It's not about comparison. It's about going in your individual journey, Tamara. Jacquelene.
You know, the way that I started writing this book, I didn't plan on. An angel came to me. I was very sick in bed and couldn't get up. And she said, get up and write this book. I will give it to you, and you won't have any more pain. And I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I just put my hands on the keyboard, and A Chosen Journey flew right through. The story started, and every morning I was up at daylight and wrote till nighttime. And it was this novel was given to me to help others that are addicted to drugs and to women that are being abused, how to leave their partner. And I had never had that idea to write a book. So I feel like a guide or an angel gave me this book. And when I'm editing it right now, my sequel, I find myself adding things to the book that I had never thought about. It just, those words flow through my fingers. I'm not writing this book. Somebody else is writing it through me.
And that's beautiful. That automatic writing is when you find yourself, Tamara, what sometimes as a writer we call ourselves to be in the zone, to truly be connected to your higher self, to the angelic realm. One thing, I just drew a card for you, Tamara, from my deck. And the card that came up, which is quite poignant, is actually patience. And if you have a look at that card, you can see that butterfly flying high. But you get it there kind of like in black and white to start with, and the colors will start emerging. And this is to do not only with your book, but particularly you talking about your third eye. Is all about being patient. You cannot really compare to somebody else. It's your own little journey. Follow that. And truly, I know that it's going, Tamara, but I truly enjoyed that journey. It's so wonderful. But by the time that you get to the destination, you're truly going to appreciate all those colors that are going to come up. But enjoy this pathway here.
I certainly will. And I'm a very calm person, and I'm very patient. And I wrote my first novel in 2002, and then I was led one day just to sit down and start the sequel. So it's going to be combined into one book so that the people that need it the most can afford it for $10.
And I think that is a wonderful way of doing things. Sometimes writers go out there writing a trilogy, trying to get 3 books out and people to buy the 3 books, and by you combining the 2. And perhaps it could be that one book finishes and immediately after a couple of pages, the other one will start. It's just a beautiful way of, as you said, giving people from your heart and soul the work that you have done in order to be able to be of service to others.
Well, I feel like this is just the perfect time for the book to come out because of so many people dying of addictions. and abusive relationships, but especially the addictions. I have a grandson that's addicted to heroin, and all we can do is love him and pray for him and try to guide him.
Yes.
So,
this year, particular book to come out, Tamara, in numerology, as Jacquelene will actually tell you, is year number 11, which is master number, and it's opening up beautiful portals to all of us if we are ready to walk through that portal and we are ready to receive what is at the other side. And keep doing what you're doing, because I think that what you're actually offering to people is wonderful.
You see the novel is selling very well.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Do you see the novel as selling very well?
It's something. I will say to you, this is pragmatic. Yes, from a pragmatic point of view, you're going to have to make certain that your publisher has a really good distribution channel or a really good distributor to get out there. But there's also going to be a little bit of work from you to get the book promoted and into the right hands.
Right. I'm on Facebook, and I have just last night, I stayed up till 5 o'clock writing a Chosen Journey page to tell people about the book, give them parts of the story, and then I also wrote a Chosen Journey group for people to discuss their addictions and their abusive relationships, just to talk to one another.
Yes.
It's I want to go into the jails and take the books and talk with the women. I have so much love to share, and I care so much about the people that are hurting. And I know the ones that are addicted are in pain. And I just feel the need that I have to help them.
Yes. You already have a publisher for your book?
I have a self-publisher, iUniverse. So they're not going to promote me. I'm going to have to promote myself. But I'm going to send it to...
Tamara, you can do that on our show. You'll be able to reach us on Soulstar Radio. If you want to connect with me off air, just go to the webpage soulstar.media and we'll be able to do something about that there. Thank you so much for your call there, Tamara. And also the orange and pink you had there before, Raul, for Tamara, that card about trust is a big message as well for you, because abuse actually links in on the colour coral, pink, and also orange. So there's actually a lot of clearing that's going on in the work that you're doing, and the synchronicity even of your call today. So do feel free to get in touch. I'm more than happy to actually give you some airtime, interviews, and also promote you across the internet. So thank you so much for calling in there today, Tamara, and I wish you the very best with it. So do get in touch. Been a wonderful show there, Raul. I momentarily blanked out and then came back, but we got through it all.
And I heard your producer saying that today was his fault, yes?
Yeah, today is his fault, so we love you, Dave. We'll catch you next time on Soulstar Radio. Thank you so much for being with us on air again today, Raul. We'll catch you next time, and lots of love to you.
And to you too, thank you so much. And thank you so much for the opportunity of introducing Guiding Star of Life to everybody out there.
Beautiful. Thank you. We'll catch you next time on Soulstar Radio. Same bat time, same bat channel next week. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya.